D2 Word Life here with...
It's time to get these hands!
Okay, thanks for jacking up my intro, but yeah, D2 Word Life here with Rip Elias Fanboy Tides.
No, guys, he misses Elias so much, he wants to walk with Elias in TNA.
God dang it. But anyway, before we get into the depths of this show, we need to take a moment of silence for actress Michelle Trachtenberg, who we just found out passed away at the age of 39. If you don't know who that is, she was one of the actresses on what was it called? Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the host of the Truth or Scare show way back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay. We're good. You broke it by saying yeah. That ain't no disrespect.
The silence has been ruined.
But yeah, that ain't no disrespect. I just found that out, and it happened as of the recording today. Right? But anyway, Elimination Chamber 2018 took place on February 25th, 2018 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Or more specifically, the Las Vegas suburb of Paradise, Nevada, but still hyped as Las Vegas. From the T-Mobile Arena, and this was a Raw-branded pay-per-view.
And it was in Vegas, where WrestleMania is going to be this year.
Yes, Vegas. We all know Vegas is going to be the big city that WrestleMania 41 will be in. And of course, like I said, this was a Raw-branded pay-per-view with an attendance of 15,126 Elias followers, who are all going to be happy with how that main event ended. Of course, the commentators for this event was Corey Graves, Jonathan Coachman, and your boy Michael Cole. God damn, Corey Graves has been there for a while as a commentator, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Of course, your boy Michael Cole at this point. And of course, your boy Michael Cole at this point has been around WWE for a little over 20 years at this point of this show. Yeah, and you were just disappointed because Michael Cole wasn't wearing an orange suit.
No, that was you.
I swear to God, one of these days, Michael Cole is probably going to do commentary wearing an orange suit. I'm just going to be like, oh my God, no. No, hypothetically speaking, what would you think if we're sitting there watching WrestleMania 41 for our review and one of those nights Michael Cole decides, I'm going to wear an orange suit for commentary? What would you think?
I'm like, Dustin, he's wearing it just for you.
Heck no. And of course, the ring announcer for this event was JoJo, which we all know was in a relationship with Bray Wyatt around this time, or maybe starting one at this time. We don't know. We just know those two were an item at that point.
I think it was their anniversary of dating or getting together.
And shout out to the pre-show match, which was Gallows and Anderson defeating Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel in a tag team match. I'm surprised Gallows and Anderson got the win here. They usually never win anything.
They were facing the B team.
Well, I'm just saying, even back then, Gallows and Anderson didn't win a whole lot of tag matches. It wasn't until, like, at this point, I know they did the whole angle with teaming with AJ Styles a year prior, but at this point, they were kind of separated off on different brands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But they were facing the B team, though.
Yeah, and then we did the whole start of the show. They did their whole, like, hype video package for the opening for the opening of this show, hyping up the chamber matches and how dangerous the chamber matches could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we seen a video package about the first contest, which would be the women's chamber match for the first time. The first time the women competed in the Elimination Chamber for the Raw Women's Championship.
By the way, guys, this is the only title that was defended in an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and we'll talk about why the main event didn't have their world title on the line. Oh, yeah, and the story going into this one, yeah, they made it a big deal about, the women competing in the chamber for the very first time. With which each of the women saying that they'll be ones walking out of the chamber with the women's championship. But here's something that they didn't show in that video package, which I'm like, okay, that's a good point. About 2 weeks before this show, we know Alexa Bliss and Kurt Angle did that little promo in the ring on Raw with Alexa Bliss asking Angle, so how come is it that I have to defend my title in the chamber, but your main world champion, Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, does not have to do that, and he's privileged? That brings up a good point, and yes, this was the era of part-time Lesnar's reign that everyone hated. Am I right?
Well, also, AJ Styles never did, because they were saying, she was saying either, because she was upset, she was the only one that was doing it. Neither AJ or Brock were defending their title in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, well, yes, AJ Styles was the WWE champion, but you gotta think too. This was a Raw branded pay-per-view back when they did Raw only pay-per-views and SmackDown only pay-per-views. Lesnar was the Universal Champion on Raw, while AJ Styles exclusively defended that title on SmackDown branded pay-per-views at the time.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why AJ Styles wasn't on this show defending. He was defending it at the next pay-per-view following this, which was the Fastlane pay-per-view that SmackDown was doing at that point. I think like 2018 would be the last year they did like Raw and SmackDown only branded shows. Or maybe they just got rid of it at the end of 2018. I don't remember exactly, but I just know around 2019 that's when that whole thing ended.
Yeah.
Before 2019 even hit. So yeah, each of them made their entrances here. Freaking Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville came out together, considering they were part of that Absolution stable.
Yeah, Paige's Absolution stable.
So yeah, the women's elimination chamber, the first one ever. It was Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss defending against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Mickie James. With Mickie James with a chance to make history, being a 7-time women's champion, tying Trish Stratus's record. Even though the championship she held was the old school women's championship, but it still counted if she would have won it at this point, of course. That's pretty much what they're referring to. Now, it's like, now, like I usually say, I'm not going to go through each move spot for spot because that just takes up way too much time.
Well, Alexa Bliss had Mickie James's help in the Elimination Chamber.
It's like, yeah, but we get to that when we get into that. It's like Bayley and Deville were the first two legal participants in the match. In the bell ring, and your boy Michael Cole said it was history in the making. I think because they like to drive that home every single time a first time ever thing happens. Kind of like how they
it was a whole big thing that was the first ever women's elimination chamber because they've never had one in the prior years to that.
Yeah, and then after some back and forth, which led to freaking Bayley taking freaking Deville down with a takedown. Bayley sent Deville into the turnbuckles right there. But then shortly later, Deville came back with a slingshot that sent Bayley into the chamber on the outside. And of course, they had to drive home this little roll. Pinfalls don't count on the outside. It has to be in the ring. How many times do we see someone get eliminated outside the ring in a chamber match? It's like they like to flip flop these rules every single year. They're not consistent.
Yes. Nope.
And that's what I was thinking when I first heard that, right?
When I first heard, I'm like, really? This is the only year you guys are freaking not letting them pin outside of the ring yet. Every other year you guys had the freaking Elimination Chamber. Oh, they roll out of the ring. 1, 2, 3, eliminated.
But yeah, after a little bit of fighting on the outside, which saw Bailey climb up the chamber for a bit to avoid a maneuver from DeVille here. Back in the ring, Bailey sent DeVille back. DeVille face first into the top turnbuckle. And then she hit a back suplex on DeVille for a 2 count. Right?
Yep.
And of course, at this point, Bailey went up to the top rope, and a good spot came when DeVille went on to the crawled on the outside section of the ring, where Bailey hit an elbow drop off the top onto DeVille, and then pushed her back into the ring for a 2 count.
Yep.
And trust me, if they did the usual 3 count on the outside, that probably would have been a 3 count, but I digress. But at this point, the clock started ticking down for the number 3 entrance for the chamber. Which number 3 was Sonya Deville's partner, Mandy Rose? Huh, yeah, random drawing my ass. Right? You know they did this on purpose. You know,
for her.
They probably did this on purpose. So, for temporarily, freaking Bailey was in a 2-on-1 situation, but she fought back immediately because she knew, well, if I let these two get the upper hand, I'll be eliminated quickly. Right?
Well, yeah.
It's like, yeah, so Mandy Rose got hit with a neck breaker from Bailey as soon as she got in there. And yeah, freaking DeVille got one as well. Yeah, and then freaking, and then she fought back with a couple shoulder tackles. And freaking, like, elbow on both of them. A piece, right?
Yep.
Yeah, including an elbow smash on both freaking DeVille and Rose from Bailey at the same time. But, you know, this momentum would not last, right? As both of them got the best of Bailey near the outside, where freaking DeVille tackled Bailey on the mats on the outside of the ring, ending that momentum, and a 2-on-1 assault started, which included DeVille hitting a running knee on Bailey, and Rose freaking did a jumping knee attack off the middle ropes onto Bailey as well for a 2 count.
Yeah, they were targeting Bailey to get her out.
Yeah, and then they trapped freaking Bailey up against the cage to work on her with kicks, but that's when the freaking clock tacked down again for number 4. So the number 4th entrance, what a coincidence, it was Bailey's friend Sasha Banks, her frenemy at this point. Right?
Yep.
So it was kind of evened up. It was like 2-on-2 at this point with also. So yeah, Sasha Banks came in, worked over DeVille with punches, and then Banks and whipped Rose into the pot a couple times. That was actually a good spot.
Yeah.
And DeVille tried to help freaking Rose, but Banks freaking targeted attack on DeVille as well and hit her with a double knees also. And Banks also freaking nailed double knees on a 2 count on one of the 2 participants. I don't remember exactly, right?
No.
But there was a kick out there. No one's been eliminated yet. And then, yeah, and at some point, freaking Banks then hit a double knee attack on DeVille while she was against the turnbuckle. But DeVille came back by sitting Banks face first to the middle rope, fighting back. Right?
Yep.
Of course, Bailey and Banks freaking then later on teamed up and sent DeVille into the chamber 2 times, followed by the double team hip toss that sent DeVille back first into the big cage. Right? So that looked brutal. course, Rose got back into it, freaking drove Bailey back first into the cage following that. And then Rose, then back in the ring, hit a freaking running clothesline to Banks, followed by a sit-out face-first slam, but then Banks then avoided the Rose kick and locked in the Banks statement onto freaking Mandy Rose, which Mandy Rose tapped out despite DeVille trying to help out, but was met with a running knee from Bailey. So yeah, Mandy Rose got eliminated by submission.
Yeah, well, they tried to get her out of the Banks statement, but no prevail.
Of course, then it was then we did the countdown. Number 5 came out, which was Mickie James. It's like the woman in this match that had the most experience in the ring. The veteran, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she cleared out everybody, but she cleared out everyone early on, and then Banks tried to eliminate James quickly, got it with a roll up, but got a 2 count here. You ain't gonna eliminate a veteran like James that quick, right?
Yeah.
And James eventually hit a neck breaker on the Banks as well. And then James tried to do a flapjack on the Banks, but DeVille slowed that momentum down. Got back into it, right? Then,
yep.
But eventually, a little bit later on the outside, James actually sent DeVille into the cage on the outside, fighting back. And the 2 came in by James, by driving James into the cage 2 times, right?
Yep. Honestly, I thought it was 4, but they said it was 2.
Yep. And of course, freaking while hauling on the cage, Mickie James did the head scissors on DeVille as well.
Yeah.
And James tried to climb up to the pod, but Banks grabbed her trying to stop her, but James kicked her off. But then Bailey tried to climb after Mickie, and then they battled, but James ended up kicking Bailey off the chamber onto the ground as well. And James went up to the top rope, did a little freaking like pose on the top, and took DeVille out with a dive, like a Luthez press off the top of the chamber. And James pinned DeVille, eliminating Sonya Deville from the match following that. Which, you gotta admit, that looked impressive.
Yeah.
Of course, James celebrated, took her eye off the ball, so Banks hit a backstabber on James. And then Bailey hit a belly-to-belly suplex to James and eliminated her. So James got eliminated by Bailey shortly after the high spot.
Yeah, and this is all after everyone thought that she would freaking survive long enough for Alexa Bliss to get in there. That backfired.
Yep, but shortly after Mickie James got eliminated, the buzzer went off, signifying that now it's Alexa Bliss to turn to enter the chamber as the last entrant here, as number 6.
Yep.
Yeah, so to recap, we got 3 legal women left. That's Bailey, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss now. But, and what did Alexa Bliss do? She went to that ring and cleaned house and eliminated both of them quickly. No, I'm fucking kidding. She tried to run off like a coward. By trying to climb away, doing the whole climb away, get away thing from both. She was trying to get away from Bailey and Banks here. All right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then, but when she tried something else, it would always backfire. And they got to one of the pods here. And Banks and Bailey were able to track her down and corner her on top of one of the pods by climbing each side of the pod, right?
Yeah.
And, Banks got up to the pod to attack on freaking Bliss first. But here's the part that made me laugh. Right when Bailey was about to get onto the freaking pod 2 to do some double team action onto Alexa Bliss, Banks went all Scar on freaking Bailey and kicked her off too.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
For she went all Highlander. There can only be one.
it's like long live the king moment. Am I right?
Well, everyone suspected that Sasha was just using Bailey. That came to fruition in the chamber.
Yes. And of course, the announcer goes, I don't know why Bailey should be so upset. It's every woman for herself in this match. When is she going to learn this? Right?
Yeah.
Of course, you look at Bailey nowadays, she wouldn't fall for that crap nowadays. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, after some exchanges up there, freaking Banks was able to get Bliss off the top rope, or off, I think, but Bailey came out and just started freaking going off on freaking Sasha Banks too. Of course, Bailey, and then shortly after that, Bailey tried to freaking work over freaking Bliss, but Banks drove Bailey into the corner, right?
Yep.
And then Bailey then freaking did a hip toss, but then Bailey fired back with a hip toss that sends Banks to the corner, and then Bailey stomped away on Banks as revenge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Bliss took Bailey down, and then Banks went up to the top and hit a frog splash on the freaking Bailey for a 2 count. Right? And everyone was like, wow, okay. Right?
Yep.
Of course, Bailey shortly afterwards was able to hit the Bailey to belly suplex on Banks, but couldn't go for the pin as she was too tired. So freaking Alexa Bliss hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll up to eliminate Bailey for the 3 count.
Yep.
So yeah, everyone hated that. I mean, Bailey was one of the fan favorites going into this match. Would this set up a freaking grudge match between Bailey and Sasha Banks? The logical answer would have been yes. The reality of the answer, no. Because we're not allowed to have nice things, apparently. Right?
No, it did.
They fought
months later.
Yeah, hella months later, not at WrestleMania. You know what they were doing at WrestleMania? Being in that women's battle royal, which yeah, that wasn't a very good blow off at this point. They should have just had a one-on-one grudge match at Mania instead, but I digress. You can't change the past. All right? Of course, Banks was down and out, so Bliss covered Banks, but Banks kicked out. The last 2 women in this match were Bliss and Banks. Right?
Yep.
Of course, Bliss went for the Twisted Bliss and had it connected. You know this match would have been over, but Banks got her knees up to block it. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Banks was working over Bliss against the cage at one point. Yeah, and then Bliss avoided a kick and sent Banks' head against her knee, putting her down.
Yep.
It's like then Bliss, while on the outside of the ring is that area, Bliss went to the top of the pod, and Bliss hit a Twisted Bliss onto Banks as well. Right?
Yep. Which ended up in the 1, 2, 3.
No, that didn't end up in the 1, 2, 3, because this was outside the ring. And of course, Bliss you'd think Bliss would be down after jumping off the top of the pod, but no. Shortly after hitting that move, Bliss was back on her dang feet, so she sold it like you on 2K. That's my 1 per video.
1 per video, my ass.
Oh, you know me so well, buddy.
Because you're an ass.
But yeah, anyway, back in the ring, Banks actually reversed like the pinfall into a freaking bank statement, but actually no, they went No, Banks actually rolled. Banks actually hit a Banks, locked on a Banks thing on the outside, but they ended up going back in the ring with Banks still holding onto the submission hold, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Bliss fought out of it, and of course, Banks then kicked Bailey down with a double kick to the face. Of course, Banks then looked up at the pod, thinking, "Okay, I'm gonna climb up to this and just jump off it onto freaking Bliss as well." So she went to try to climb up there, but Bliss freaking tripped her up, sending her head first into the freaking pod. And then freaking Bliss hit a draping DDT shades of Randy Orton off the top rope and pinned Banks to win the match and retain the title.
Yep.
So before I talk about the post-match, your thoughts on this one?
Was it a good Elimination Chamber match? Some would say yes. Me, not so much.
I mean, I did like the little bit of storytelling between Sasha Banks and Bailey in this matchup, but that didn't really go anywhere. That didn't really go anywhere fast at the time. Now, the big story that Banks and Bailey would have like 2 years later in 2020 that culminated in that Hell in a Cell match, that was better storytelling than what they had here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, was it a good Hell in a Cell? Why am I thinking how? Because I just mentioned it. Was this a good
Elimination Chamber, buddy?
God, I can't even get my shows right this week. So was this a good Elimination Chamber? I thought it was like decent. I've seen worse chamber matches than this. Okay, that's all I'm saying, and it's not the best because I've seen some Elimination Chamber matches that were better, but I do appreciate the storytelling they were trying to do. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, let's talk about it. After the match, Bliss was interviewed by Renee Young in the ring, Bliss being the winner of the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match. Right?
Yep.
And of course, the fans were chanting, "You deserve it," while freaking Bliss was doing an interview, we seen Sasha Banks selling the loss, sitting on the ring steps. Right?
Yep.
And Bliss said, "Thank you that this victory wasn't about her. It was about every woman, every little girl at home, and everyone who's ever dreamed big." And she held the title up in the air. Now, and then she said, Bliss said that this proves that you can be whatever you want to be, so dare to dream and dream big. Now, you would think, yeah, this is a typical great face freaking promo, right?
Yeah, no.
Alexa Bliss at this point was a heel, so you got to keep her heel going into Mania. At this point, right?
Yeah.
So after she said what she said, Bliss freaking then looked at the fans and was looking at the fans in reality, none of you will ever accomplish your dreams. Yeah, that's how you crush it and stay the heel. And Bliss talked about how the odds were against her and that she still won. And Bliss said nobody believed that she could win, but she did. And she was here to prove there's one true goddess in WWE. So yeah, she pretty much took the beginning of a face promo and morphed it with a heel promo. Actually, that's pretty good work. Just take the fans' emotions, making them think, oh yeah, you're saying something to motivate them, and then crush it.
Yeah, I've seen better.
It's like I did too, but it still works. It still got the fans back to booing Alexa Bliss like she was a devil or something. Right?
Yeah, one I can tell you right now was Scott Hall's promo when he was the bad guy, and then when he was just Scott Hall.
Yeah. Well, Scott Hall was a great promo when given the chance back in the day. Right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, and then they showed freaking Ronda Rousey's locker room was shown. Kurt Angle walked in there, and I'm just like, Kurt Angle walking into a locker room with a female in it. What's that remind you of? From 20 years ago.
Where have we seen this before?
I don't know. Certainly, there's nothing that we've ever reviewed.
Yes.
Oh, and it was your favorite angle, wasn't it? No pun very much intended.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah. Kurt Angle just walked into Ronda Rousey's locker room with the contract in his hand that they were going to be doing later on in the show. Yeah, and then there was some cell phone footage that showed Braun Strowman cutting a promo about the men's Elimination Chamber. Now, he was going to win the match and pretty much dominate and go to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, and we go to our next match, which was for the Raw Tag Team titles, which was the Raw Tag Team Champions at the time, The Bar, which was Sheamus and Cesaro defending against Titus Worldwide, which was Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, just shortened to Apollo with Dana Brooke in their corner. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, while the teams were making their entrances, we were introduced to Spanish and German announcers that were at ringside as well. And of course, the Bar attacked freaking Apollo and Titus before the match started, but Apollo did fight them back with a cross body off the top rope to both members of the Bar, and that's when the ref rang the bell.
Yeah.
So the pre-match assault, so Sheamus and Cesaro's pre-match assault kind of backfired on him at this point. Right?
Yep.
Of course, shortly afterwards, Sheamus freaking hit a clothesline to Apollo on the floor, and that gave, Cesaro and Sheamus the control. And I have to say, this match, the Sheamus and Cesaro was in control for most of it, from what I saw. Right?
Yeah. Well, they were in control from the offset when they started to attack them.
And at one point, freaking Cesaro did slap a headlock on Apollo, really slowing the match down a bit. And I'm like, so close to it being a chin lock. But I guess that's as close as we can get, right?
Well, too bad you can't do your chin lock joke.
Yeah, that's as close as we can get, so I guess I'll take it for this show. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was a double team clothesline from Apollo that took freaking all of them down at one point. Of course, Sheamus and Cesaro kept doing the quick tags, freaking keeping Apollo grounded, not being able to do a hot tag or anything. And then Cesaro slapped on another headlock, and the crowd got bored. Right?
Yes.
Of course, Dana Brooke tried to get into it by, trying to motivate Apollo to fight back or get in the ring. So Apollo did fight back and sent Cesaro out of the ring. But once again, Sheamus got tagged back in, and Apollo tried to take the tag, but Sheamus freaking knocked Titus off the apron. Like we've seen so many times, right?
Yeah.
Of course, despite this, Apollo didn't manage to get a sunset flip cover, I believe, on Sheamus for a 2 count. Right? Yeah, and there was some opening for Apollo when Sheamus missed a corner charge and hit the ring post because Apollo got out of the way. Right? And of course, Titus got the hat tag against Cesaro. Right? Because Cesaro was a legal person too at this point.
Yep.
And of course, Titus was a house of fire when he whipped Cesaro in the corner and forearms to the chest and he freaking tossed Cesaro across the ring. Right?
Yep.
And then Titus freaking splashed Cesaro in the corner, and he kicked Sheamus off the apron. A little payback for what happened earlier. And freaking O'Neil hit Cesaro with a boot, but got a 2 count because Cesaro kicked out. Right?
Yep.
Of course, shortly afterwards, Sheamus got the tag in after some back and forth between Cesaro and O'Neil, or Titus O'Neil here. And then, Sheamus then freaking slipped trying to get up to the freaking top rope, right? But he quickly recovered and got up to the top rope, and he freaking just got known. He was laughing about it, right?
Yep.
Trying to be like, no, I did that on purpose. And then Sheamus went to jump off the top rope, but Titus caught him in midair, putting him down, and then Cesaro came back in. And then the heels went out, Sheamus and Cesaro went out to the floor, and then Apollo got the tag in and hit a somersault dive onto the bar on the outside, which looked impressive. Right?
Yep.
Shortly after the ring, Apollo did hit a crossbody off the top for a 2 count on Sheamus. Yeah, and then freaking Apollo was going for the moonsault again, but Sheamus blocked it, leading to a 2 count also for Sheamus. At this point, this match could have gone either way here. And of course, Cesaro got back in the ring, sent Titus into the ring post. And then like freaking, of course, Sheamus was still the legal man, so obviously Apollo was still attacking Sheamus, but Cesaro got a blind tag in, which Apollo wasn't aware of until freaking Cesaro clipped the knee. And of course, the bar hit their double team finisher, white noise finisher for the pinfall win. And Sheamus and Cesaro are still the Raw Tag Champions. Your thoughts on this one? I thought it was something. They could have just done this match on like Raw. It felt like more of just a Raw match, but your thoughts?
It was decent enough.
I mean, obviously this ain't 5-star freaking quality. I mean, when it comes to Sheamus' pay-per-view matches, I really hardly remember this one. Sheamus and Cesaro had better tag team feuds against, like, say, the Hardys and New Day.
Yeah.
So Sheamus and Cesaro were the champions. They were walking into WrestleMania as the champions, and who did they lose to? Oh, we'll talk about that when we talk about WrestleMania 34. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
So and then freaking and then they showed freaking afterwards they showed after the match they showed a clip of Nia Jax attacking Asuka on the Raw prior to this, setting up the next match. Right, and then obviously they showed one of Asuka's masks backstage on the floor, thinking, okay, that's the arrival of Asuka. Everyone was getting hyped for it, only for Nia Jax to step on it, just showing her boot.
Yeah.
And then they showed the video package hyping the Asuka Jax match, which was actually next. They also stated that, it also showed that Asuka was undefeated since October of 2015, right? Which was true. She was booked to win, right? She was booked to win, undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Jax made her entrance, and that's when they were like, oh, here are other freaking announcers from other languages. I'm not going to go through them all. Except I like the Japanese one because they had Funaki, SmackDown #1 announcer, as the commentator. Right?
Yep.
But yeah, freaking Asuka made her entrance. Also, great reaction. So this was Nia Jax versus Asuka, with the stipulation being if Nia Jax won, then Nia Jax will be inserted into the women's title match, making it a triple threat WrestleMania 34. Because at this point, since Asuka was on Raw, it was just under the assumption that Asuka would go on to challenge for the Raw women's title anyway.
Yeah.
Which we already know how that turned out. Of course, Jax was dominating most of this matchup, and to say that was somewhat of an understatement, right?
Yeah.
Jax started a domination with a headbutt, and she sent Asuka into the turnbuckle. And then freaking Jackson tossed Asuka across the ring. She was just toying with Asuka at this point. Of course, at one point, Jax charged at Asuka, but Asuka ducked and Jax was sent out of the ring. but but Jack's got the freaking upper hand and need freaking Asuka in the spine and in the back, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they showed Alexa Bliss for some reason watching the match backstage on TV, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then Jack stepped on Asuka's back, sent her face down into the mat, with her face down on the mat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then Jack sent Asuka into the turnbuckle shortly afterwards, after a splash in the corner and an elbow drop, right?
Yep.
And the crowd was was saying, "Let's go Nia, let's go Asuka," but I don't think. But at this point, it's like, okay, to me, it was kind of obvious who was going to win this, knowing Jax's domination early on. Yeah, but freaking Asuka tried to go for a submission, but Jax freaking countered it into a suplex, countered with a suplex into a body slam. It looks like a variation of what Goldberg used called the jackhammer, if I wanted to make a comparison to that.
Yeah.
But Asuka did manage to fight back with a jawbreaker, but Jax followed by kicks to the chest, but Jax caught freaking Asuka, ending that momentum with a Samoan drop, putting Asuka down.
Yeah.
And of course, Jax went for a running leg drop, but Asuka moved out of the way, and Asuka then hit a running knee for a 2 count. Of course, speaking of Jack's leg drop, you would love to be on the receiving end of that, wouldn't you?
Oh, I know you would.
Of course, following that, freaking Asuka kicked Jax in the head another few times, leading to another 2 count as well. Yeah, but then shortly after that, freaking Asuka went up to the top rope. Of course, Jax went after her, and then Jax actually punched Asuka down. So Jax went up there to the top rope, went for a bonsai drop, which is, we all know you want to take one of those from Nia Jax.
No.
But Asuka moved out of the way, so Jax hit none but ring canvas. Right?
Yep.
Oh, boy. But whatever freaking momentum Asuka was trying to freaking build at this point, Jax freaking shut it down again with a clothesline. Yeah, then freaking Jax did a flipping dive. I don't know how, but Asuka moved, and Jax hit Asuka's legs, right?
Yep.
Flipping dive. From Nia, okay. But either way, Jackson capitalized because he missed the corner splash, and Jax hit the freaking turnbuckle because Asuka moved out of the way. And that's when Asuka freaking locked in the armbar onto freaking Jax. Now, any other opponent at the time probably would have tapped out, right?
Yeah.
Not Jax, he's too powerful, so she just picked Asuka up and drove her back first the turnbuckle, thus breaking the hold. Right? Signifying that Jax was extremely strong at this point. And here's where Jax did something wrong. She stalled because she pointed out the WrestleMania sign saying she's going to WrestleMania and not Asuka. So Jax went for whatever next move went for another move to try to keep the momentum, but Asuka countered into the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, for the 3 count and the win. So Asuka wins. That means freaking the women's title match at WrestleMania 34 will not be a triple threat match because Nia Jax lost. Your thoughts on this one?
Was it a good Nia Jax match? No.
I don't know I don't even know.
Did her and Asuka have better? Yes.
I don't know. What would you classify as a good Nia Jax match? The work she's been doing recently as of 24-25?
Well, started getting better. later in the 2018, and it just got better now.
Yeah. I mean, in Oscar, we know she had better matches with better opponents, but anyway, here's what we got to tell. Everyone thought, of course, I thought it was all right. I mean, it wasn't, the best match, but that those two had, but I thought it was passable, as in, the David versus Goliath type matches, which they were going for, right? And of course, of course, after the match, Jax attacked Asuka with a clothesline, and then freaking but after that, long story short, freaking they went onto the outside, and Jax freaking charged and tackled Asuka through the barricade where the ring bell or the timekeeper is. Thus freaking resulting in Asuka having to be carried out of the arena. Basically. Yeah. And of course, this was freaking heel cheap heat tactic. Jax being the sore loser here. We will see something else similar to that later. All right. Yeah. But everyone thought at the time that it was going to be Asuka versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title, which would make sense on paper, but I believe it was later on in the week, maybe the next night on Raw or the SmackDown following that Asuka announced she'd be facing Charlotte Flair instead for the SmackDown Women's belt. And of course, Nia Jax would still get her women's title match at WrestleMania against Alexa Bliss anyway, thus starting that storyline. Yep. We don't need to talk about what happened to Asuka at WrestleMania. We're not reviewing that one yet, but let's just say the wrong person won that match. I still stand by that statement. I still stand by that statement, and you know why. All right? Oh, boy. Anyway, in the back, Roman Reigns gets interviewed, and Reigns said he's going to win the Elimination Chamber, and he's going to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. One of those statements was correct. Sorry, I just have to bring that one up. Right? Uh-huh. We all know what happened, and yeah, I'm not looking. As you can tell by the sound of my voice, I'm really excited to review WrestleMania 34 when we get there. Yes. I mean, look at me. I am so happy about talking about that one. Yes, I know. I know you can't see me because I don't have my camera on, but I'm doing the friggin' Walter frown. Yeah. If you know what that is, you watch Jeff Dunham too. Yes. Anyway, they showed the next one. They showed the video package that was hyping up the Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt match, which this made Matt Hardy go Woken, and I don't care if WWE only said Woken to own the rights on it. I still call it Broken. Right. Well, his character was Broken Matt Hardy, but he was doing that Woken era shit. And you know it was shit. Yeah, but you know what? Matt Hardy made his Woken entrance, with the whole delete chants and everything else. And of course, they showed the Bray Wyatt's little entrance video, the start of his entrance video where the lights go off, but the lights gone back on, and Bray Wyatt was even in the ring, so we didn't even get a proper entrance from Wyatt either. Yeah, but Matt Hardy disappeared. And Matt Hardy disappeared, only leaving his ring jacket in the ring. Yep. And of course, Bray Wyatt was looking around all confused, like, what? All right. Yeah, then he just hears Matt Hardy speaking that he's going to be obsolete and deleted. Yeah, just hearing Matt Hardy's voice, no Matt Hardy around, like, huh? looks everywhere, all confused, pissed off, getting frustrated, right? And eventually, freaking Bray Wyatt did look under the ring, but then that's when Matt Hardy appeared on the ring steps. Obviously, Hardy was under the ring and just climbed out the other side, right?
Yep.
And then Hardy started the match with a Russian leg sweep, but then Wyatt charged in the corner. This was after the match officially got underway. Of course, Wyatt charged in the corner, and he did his upside down freaking pose. And then, instead of being intimidated by it, Matt Hardy just applauded him, confusing Wyatt even more, like playing more mind games. And he got everyone to do it. Right? And I'm just like, okay. Not used to that, watching a Bray Wyatt match, but okay, this match is nuts. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Matt Hardy then nailed a DDT on Wyatt for the 2 count. Right? And of course, Wyatt ran the ropes, get momentum going, and actually hit a running cross body block that took Hardy down following that 2 count.
Yep.
And of course, Bray Wyatt then freaking kept Hardy grounded with that freaking dreaded headlock. Jesus Christ. Headlocks, but no chin locks. Come on.
Yep.
Guess I'm going to have to wait for the next show. At this rate.
Yep.
And of course, the crowd wasn't into it. They didn't realize at the time what art they'd be watching, and they would not appreciate that till, well, years later. Yeah. For obvious reasons. And, back in the ring, Wyatt still had that headlock applied. But, Wyatt then hit a headbutt onto Hardy's chest, but then Wyatt then hit a DDT on Hardy onto the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. And the fans didn't really give a shit, right? You did hear the we want the beach ball chant, right? Or we want beach balls chant, right?
I think so.
Yeah, the crowd chanted, we want beach balls. And you know what's funny? It was like about a couple months earlier that during a match on pay-per-view, I think it was, in late 2017, I don't remember exactly what pay-per-view was, but Cesaro got ticked off, went out to the crowd, took a beach ball and ripped it up to shreds, saying, pay attention to my match.
Right? Oh, I remember that.
And I guess it was after that point that WWE officials decided to ban beach balls from ever being in the arena shortly before this pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
Because of that incident. So yeah, that's why they were chanting, we want beach ball, but they couldn't get one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what a way to tell your audience, hey, pay attention to the match that you paid for, despite the fact that you can do anything in the crowd.
Yep.
And if you boo Raymond Reigns, we don't care. We're still going to freaking push him to the moon. Right?
Yep.
Of course, back in the ring, freaking Wyatt nailed Hardy with a clothesline for a 2 count. Right? Of course, Wyatt got a 2 count here. Right? Of course, Wyatt then freaking decked Hardy with another clothesline, and then Wyatt sent Hardy into the turnbuckle, and then a boot to the face. Of course, boot to the face, followed by Hardy on Wyatt, followed by a tornado DDT out of the corner. So Hardy was trying to fight back. Trying to get momentum back at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, and then freaking Hardy then hit a corner clothesline, followed by the side effect for a 2 count onto Wyatt. And of course, freaking Hardy then hit an elbow to the back while the fans chanted delete to set up the twist of fate here, but Wyatt shoved Hardy off the way, reversing the move. Yeah, and then Wyatt then hit a Uranagi slam and a senton splash onto Hardy for a 2 count. And once again, the disrespect for the fans, they were chanting Rusev Day, even though Rusev wasn't even on Raw at this point. They were just chanting anything. Yeah. They weren't paying attention to the match at all. They wouldn't appreciate any Wyatt matches until, well, for obvious reasons, but yeah, the fan interaction here was not good. Right?
Yeah, well, they didn't get the whole concept of Bray Wyatt versus broken Matt Hardy.
But anyway, Wyatt went up to the top rope to do another dive, but Hardy moved out of the way. Of course, Wyatt then hit another clothesline, but then Wyatt was setting up Sister Abigail, which he took too long to connect, and then Hardy fought out and actually hit the twist of fate for the pinfall win. So yeah, Woken Matt Hardy won this one. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
So yeah, my thoughts on it's like, for me personally, it's like I get, it's supernatural versus supernatural, but sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. These two were better being a tag team that they would become later on.
Well, they just didn't really get the match going like they wanted it to until later on.
Yeah, was this either man's best match? No, but would they have a better encounter literally about maybe a month later that took place on Raw? Yes, and I'm talking about the freaking Hardy
Ultimate Deletion match.
The Ultimate Deletion match that they had, which
at the Hardy compound, which was fucking amazing.
Which that took place on freaking Raw a couple weeks before WrestleMania. That should have been taped and shown at WrestleMania, to be honest. Yeah, it would have been a cinematic match at WrestleMania, but that's something we would have been getting used to literally 2 years after this anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, if you ask me, the best cinematic match they had was Styles and Taker from Mania 36, so there you go. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they would have a better match later on, obviously. But, for the actual in-ring, and this ain't no disrespect to the late, great Bray Wyatt. It just didn't click as well, in my opinion. Right? For this one.
Yeah.
But Matt Hardy even said in interviews years later that he actually freaking liked working with Bray Wyatt and everything else in these matches. So I'm like, okay, yeah. If he thought it was fun, then yeah, so be it. Then yeah, good for him, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, afterwards they aired a commercial hyping WWE shop, but then they aired another one for Fastlane, which AJ Styles was talking about defending in a 5-way match for the WWE Championship on March 11th of 2018, the Fastlane pay-per-view.
Yeah, but Corey Graves butchered the hell. He's like, oh, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's 4.
Yeah.
And Michael Cole's like, it's a fatal 5-way, Corey. He's like, oh, I forgot to add.
Yay! Oh, basic math. 2 + 2 equals potato.
2 + 2 equals fish.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy, I'm going to hell for saying it like that, but next they showed a video package about Ronda Rousey and how she made her debut at the Rumble and big hype and everything else like that, and how she would be on the last week's Raw as well and everything else. But here we go. Obviously, I'm not going to next segment, obviously, I'm not going to grade this one because it's just a segment, but obviously, I'm not going to rate it, but here we go. It was the contract signing for Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Which nowadays really isn't a big deal, okay? But back then, it was a big deal because Ronda Rousey was still a mega star at this point that everyone actually liked. So you can't fault WWE for capitalizing on it by having this contract signing segment, right, on pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep it brief here as best I can, unless you want to add some shit to it that I didn't mention, or if I just briefly mention, you can go in more depth with it. But the Raw general manager at the time, which was Kurt Angle, came out, entered first with a contract. Obviously, and obviously in the ring, there was the contract was set up, the ring mat was changed, and of course there was a table with the red cloth on it, right? And all I could think about was like, well, there's only one way these contract signs are going to end. Someone's going to eat that table, right?
Yep.
I remember watching this live and thinking the same thing back then, right? Of course, Triple H came out. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon came out to the King of Kings theme song, which even you said it yourself, the freaking Hail to the King by Vince Centerfold would have also been fitting, right?
Well, they literally should have had it as All Hail the King by Avenged Centerfold, because that would actually have made sense.
Exactly.
Because at this point, the lead singer of
Motorhead
had passed away.
But yeah, and I understand Triple H still
I
uses those
understand that
earphones.
he kept it as a tribute to him, but they could have literally had All Hail the King as his entrance as well.
Yeah. I mean, ain't no disrespect to the King of Kings freaking song from Motorhead. That song's a banger in its own right.
Yes. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not disrespecting Motorhead or not. I'm just saying that they could have had it Hail to the King.
I don't know, maybe if there's a lot of fan demand, maybe Hail to the King will be his, like, hype package for his freaking career highlight video for his Hall of Fame induction this year.
Well, I hope.
And yeah, for those of you that don't know, probably living under a rock, I don't know. Freaking Triple H is going to be inducted, is the highlight and head inductee for the Hall of Fame as of 2025. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, Triple H and Stephanie came out, right? And Stephanie was freaking like, hyped as a Raw commissioner while Triple H was the honoring CEO of the company, which kind of ironic. Ain't that kind of what he is now? I think he's pretty much part owner now.
He is owner.
Yeah, part owner with The Rock. But Stephanie came out and talked about that this was a history-making moment. And of course, Triple H said that they score the world of talent and can't remember talent coming into WWE like this since Kurt Angle, which, to be fair, Angle was an Olympic gold medalist, and he was and he quickly adapted to the WWE style, kind of like what Ronda Rousey would do, transporting from one combat sport to the next, right? And Triple H spoke about Ronda Rousey's background in judo and MMA, pretty much just hyping her up, right? And pretty much Triple H introduced, but then later on Triple H introduced Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet, to come out, right?
Yes.
Of course, everyone was going nuts for her because, as opposed to now, because like I said, back then she was a big mega crossover mega star anyway. Back then we all liked Ronda Rousey. Right?
I still like her.
Of course, Rousey waved to the fans as she entered the ring. Rousey shook hands with Hunter, Steph, and Angle. I'm like, okay. I'm just like, okay, let's just get on with it. But, Ronda Rousey had cut a promo thanking the fans, saying that she wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him, and that she wanted to make Roddy Piper and his family proud, and cited him as her inspiration for her MMA career as well, and she was blessed with the Rowdy name from Roddy Piper as well. That's why she goes by that, apparently. And of course, that's the long story short on, that little promo right before the stuff happened. Contract signing happened. So Triple H opened the contract and said to Ronda's crowd she didn't want anything special. She didn't want a part-time contract. She wanted to be treated like the rest of the women on the roster or everyone else on the roster. Right?
Yeah.
And pretty much Triple H told Ronda that by saying this, she would not just be invited to WrestleMania, but she would be competing at WrestleMania in a match. Right? Basically is what he was saying. And let's face it, Rousey was about to sign the contract, but then Rousey noticed Triple H and Angle were having a conversation with each other, and Rousey asked if Angle wanted to say anything. And this is where the shenanigans really started.
Yep.
Because for a fact, They booked Angle. They can't freaking goddamn Angle can't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
And Angle said that Triple H, and pretty much Angle said that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon wanted Rousey to manipulate Rousey, and wanted her ever since Rousey tagged both of them at WrestleMania 31. In that segment with The Rock, as we all know, happened.
Yeah.
Which gives me an idea for a future review, but either way. Yeah, and then Angle pointed out earlier that in another 3 years, that this was 3 years in the making, and now that they own the bitch, claiming that Triple H said that. Right? Angle's a little snitch here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Triple H tried to bow out. He's like, Kurt wasn't feeling well. He had the flu. We need to get him out of the ring and go to a doctor. In all reality, Triple H was saying that'd be like, I know you're lucky you're lucky I'm not kicking your ass right now. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Triple H and Angle left the ring. And Stephanie told Ronda that she did embarrass them at WrestleMania, but she was also impressed by Ronda as well. Right? And so he said, let's make it official and let's make Ronda Rousey a WWE superstar. But then back on the outside, freaking Angle pointed out that Stephanie said that Ronda had been was a has-been, and that Stephanie could freaking take her on. I'm like, okay, Mr. Angle asshole, shut the f up. Goddamn snitch out here. Right?
Yeah.
So Ronda just angrily stared down Stephanie in the ring. Triple H went back, and those two actually went face to face. Triple H went back in the ring to break it up, right? Then Rousey had to stare down with Triple H, but Stephanie left the ring, after freaking talking to Triple H, then Triple H walked toward Rousey, and then Rousey picked him up, and she put Triple H to the table with a belly-to-belly suplex.
Yeah.
Which everyone popped for loudly, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Stephanie freaking got back in the ring afterwards, all pissed off. But anyway, Stephanie freaking got back in the ring, all ticked off. Freaking went up to Ronda Rousey and slapped her in the face, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Ronda Rousey's no-sold that slap to the face like you on 2K.
Of course, dude.
And the fans are actually chanting the "you fucked up" chant at Stephanie. And Stephanie, who pretty much decided to do the smartest thing she could do, backed out of the ring and left. Right?
Yeah.
So Rousey picked up the contracts and signed it, and then freaking put the contract onto Triple H and then left the ring with her theme song.
Yeah.
And of course, so yeah, I mean, your thoughts on this segment, even though it's not going to affect the Elimination Chamber grade or score at all.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it was there. It was kind of slow, but everyone knew that probably was going to happen. But the after effect of this is what actually would set up that mixed tag match at WrestleMania 34 between Angle and Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie. Right? Or Ronda Rousey's first match, I should say. And of course, after that segment, the video aired saying that WrestleMania 34 will be taking place in 42 days at that time. Right?
Yes.
And then they talked about the Mixed Match Challenge on freaking Tuesday nights. Remember when the Mixed Match Challenge was a thing?
Yes.
Nowadays, it's just an arena we get for free on launch day in the 2K games. Right?
Yep.
And then they announcers talked about the Fastlane pay-per-view 2 weeks and set up the main event. Right.
Yep.
And of course, the Chamber did lower for the main event. And then, they did share the video package about hyping up the men's Chamber match, which in this particular match, In this particular match, the winner of this match would not become Universal Champion. No. The winner of this match will actually get the opportunity to face Brock Lesnar, the part-time champion, at WrestleMania 34 for the title. And the big fan favorite going into this match was Braun Strowman, but we'll explain how that one was. I mean, but Elias was the first one in the chamber. Didn't even come out to
Well, you forgot the Alexa Bliss thing where she's like, you cannot fucking be ready for Alexa Bliss.
Oh, yeah, that too. That's what Alexa Bliss said backstage. Talking about...
That was right before the main event.
Yeah, right before the main event. She said that backstage. Of course, Elias was already in the ring. He was going to be the final man to enter the matchup, but he even said, "Who wants to walk with Elias?" And you're at home being like, "I do."
No.
And then you tried to push that onto me. And of course, Elias said, "Yeah, he's going to do." And then Elias was pretty much burning the town of freaking dang Las Vegas, saying, "Well, all of you are from Vegas, so you're used to seeing someone behind bars." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, you really got to go that low, right?"
Yeah.
And then Elias talked about how he was going to win and face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Okay, pause for a second. Imagine a reality where freaking Elias actually won this match and fought Brock Lesnar for the Universal title in the main event of WrestleMania 34.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, that match would have been a freaking easy squash win for Lesnar. Let's face it. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Elias would go on to ask, "What does WWE stand for?" And the crowd chanted, "We walk with Elias." And of course, Elias tried to sing a song, but the crowd booed him, and he goes, Yeah, he goes, "You know what? I ain't gonna sing. How about I just go sit in the spot?" And the crowd shouted, "Yes." But Elias went on to sing his song some more, just burning everyone in the freaking match until Braun Strowman interrupted for his entrance. Right?
Yeah.
You know, after everyone made their entrances, including The Miz, who was Intercontinental Champion, that championship was not on the line here. Right?
Yep.
But we'll get into it. We have the men's Elimination Chamber match, where the winner will face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34, and it was The Miz versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus John Cena versus Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman versus Elias. 7 men in the chamber, 3 started off the match, while the 4 were locked in chamber pods. Right.
Well, I also think this is also the one and only time that they ever had 7 men in a chamber.
Yeah, they had 7 men in the chamber. I think this is the one and only time they did it. The only other time multiple men were in a chamber were tag team chamber matches.
Yes.
But yeah, this match started off with Balor, Rollins, and The Miz. Right. And then freaking, it was kind of comical seeing The Miz being like, "Come on, freaking Rollins, you and me team up to take out Balor." And Rollins like, "No, man." And then The Miz tried to do the same thing, but then Rollins and Balor looked at each other and goes, "How about we just work together to take him out?" Right?
Yes.
That's pretty much what they did for a good minute. But then freaking, obviously Rollins and Balor were going at each other too, including freaking, but you know, Miz tried to fight back in, and then Miz actually missed a corner attack on Balor, and Balor then kicked Rollins in the back for a 2 count. So there you go. Right?
Yep.
And of course, Rollins then coming back with a knee to the ribs as well to Balor, I think. And all 3 guys did roll-ups for 2 counts. The roll-up, the more popular pinning move of the night for the show. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, then Rollins then hit a backbreaker on the Balor, but then Rollins had hit it Rollins had hit a springboard clothesline to The Miz and a suplex on Miz and a Falcon's Arrow on The Miz for 2 count. Right? So, yeah, but then shortly afterwards, freaking the clock struck down to 0. Number 4 coming into the match was John Cena. Right?
Yep.
And Cena was ready to go for Rollins here, and the fans were chanting the "Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks" chants, which is, yeah, back then, something you would hear. Now, not so much. Am I right?
Yep.
I think nowadays, anybody chanting a Cena Sucks chant would be freaking booed out of the building, honestly. Knowing that this is last year. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then Cena then hits some flying shoulder tackles, but Rollins avoided the suplex. But then Cena just managed to hit a suplex anyway, and then Rollins went for a kick, but Cena avoided it and hit another suplex on Rollins. And then Cena turned his attention to The Miz, and I went after The Miz with a spinning suplex. And of course, with both freaking Rollins and Miz down, Cena did a double 5-knuckle shuffle on both guys, which, if you know, you know, and if you don't worry about it. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Balor got back in the action with a double foot stomp to Cena for a 2 count. And of course, then freaking Balor then rolled up Miz for a 2 count, followed by a sling blade under The Miz as well from Balor. And of course, shortly afterwards, freaking Cena then hit a splash on Rollins and Balor at the same time, and Cena went for the double AA, and he sent Rollins' feet into the Balor, then freaking Rollins then counted the AA and hit an enziguri onto Cena. Right? Yeah, then Miz hit his backbreaker neckbreaker combo onto Rollins for a 2 count. So no one's been eliminated yet. A little later on, Cena had Balor up for a superplex, while Rollins had The Miz up for a suplex. And they did both superplexes back to back from the top turnbuckle. So all 4 men were down in this match at this point. And of course, number 5 came out, and well, number 5 was your boy. Your pre-tribal chief, the big dog.
No, that was yours.
Your 100% favorite, the John Cena 2.0.
Nope.
The man who was despised by the crowd so bad at this point just because he was the face of the company.
Oh, we all know that. You're talking about yourself here, buddy.
And yes, number 5 in this match was Roman Reigns. Pre-tribal chief Roman Reigns. You know, the goody two-shoes good guy Roman Reigns that nobody liked. I mean, we all know you were a fan of Roman Reigns back then, especially when it came to his 2015 Royal Rumble win.
I know, you're talking about yourself yet again.
I mean, when we talk about his...
You're just pushing it on other people because you just don't want to admit.
I mean, it ain't my fault we were talking about Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble win like about a month ago, and freaking you're the one who even said that match deserves 5 out of 5.
Nope.
Because we all know you were a big dog fan back then.
Nope.
And I know you can't tell, but I got a freaking sarcastic smile on my face while I'm saying this.
Oh, I know. Because we all know it's true that it was you.
Hell no to that, man. Right. And of course, your boy, Michael Cole, was calling him the big dog like usual. And we all know you were happy about that call, weren't you?
Yet again, you're talking about yourself.
No, I'm talking about you back then. That's exactly what you were saying when you seen this live.
Nope.
I mean, if you and I were talking back then, you'd probably be messaging me, be like, "Yay, Roman Reigns, he's the best." I'd be like, "F off." Oh, God. I'm only saying this to annoy you. You know this, right?
Yes, yet again, you are talking about yourself, buddy.
It's like, nah.
We all know that you enjoyed pre-Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, and you wanted to be a Big Dog fan. We all know that this is you.
I don't think so, Scooter. That was all you.
Nope, you were on the freaking train for it from day one. You were blowing Roman Reigns out your ass.
Hey, I wasn't on the big dog train back then. I never was. And who picked this event to review? You did. So I'm just taking the piss out of it now.
Elimination Chamber.
No, you picked it for Reigns' match at the main event.
Nope.
Yeah. But, Reigns came in there and cleaned house with punches to Balor, Miz, and Cena. And then Reigns and Rollins stared face to face, but that ain't gonna happen. Because you can't freaking sit there for too long staring at an opponent. When Miz shoved Reigns in the Rollins, and Miz hit a DDT on Rollins for a 2 count. No one's been eliminated yet. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, all 4 faces were like, Miz was the only one standing, where everyone else was like worn out, like on their knees, whatever, just wore out. So yeah, Miz was like pointing at each one of them, was like, who should I kick for the it kicks? Right? And then eventually Miz was like, screw it, I'm just gonna kick all of them. Right? So yeah, he ended up kicking all of them. He ended up performing the it kicks to all of them, but then Reigns then freaking fought back with 3 clotheslines, putting the Miz down. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, but then a little later on, Balor sent freaking Rollins over the top rope, onto the mat on the outside of the ring, and then Reigns then hit a clothesline on Balor for another 2 count. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then a little later on, Reigns nailed a 1-arm freaking slam on the Balor and a Samoan drop on the Cena, knocking him down. Yeah, and then at this point, everyone was dead. At this point, freaking the clock was ticking down, and everyone was like, the fans were like, get these hands. Because I knew the Strowman would be the next one in the match. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, number 6 came out, which was Braun Strowman. Was Braun Strowman the big monster? I'm like, man, at this point, I think Strowman was more like the tween role, as in he wasn't really a heel, but he really wasn't quite a face yet. At this point, right? But he was still getting the cheers, but he was still dominating all the other faces, like a heel monster would. But either way, freaking Braun Strowman came in, freaking had struck everyone except for freaking Miz, who ran away and who was running away like a little coward as much as he could. That's what you would be doing in the chamber against Strowman, right?
Anyone would run away from Strowman.
Of course, Cena tried to hold Strowman as Rollins punched down Strowman, and the double suplex attempt was countered as Strowman hit a suplex on both Cena and Rollins at the same time, right? And then Balor freaking was going for some offensive move, but Strowman caught him and then tossed Balor into Reigns. And then the Miz climbed up the top pod to try to get away, but Strowman climbed up after him. And then Strowman sent freaking Miz face first to the side of the chamber on top of the pod. And then Strowman ended up tossing the Miz off of the pod onto everyone in the ring. Right? So yeah, the Miz had the big freaking dive when he was pretty much yeeted off the top of the pod here. Right?
Yep.
Which that was a great visual spot, and the fans were cheering loudly for Strowman. There's no doubt Strowman was a fan favorite into this match.
Yeah.
And of course, Strowman had a stare down with Elias, which you gotta remember, Elias was still freaking in his spot, hasn't entered the match yet. So Strowman then turned his attention, shortly afterwards, to to the Miz, and he picked up the Miz and hit a running power slam to pin the Miz. So the Miz got eliminated by Strowman, right?
Yep.
And of course, you were very disappointed. You wanted to see Miz in the WrestleMania main event again because you loved his last one.
Nope.
Especially when freaking Michael Cole kept talking about the Miz repeatedly over and over and over again.
Yep, that's what you were loved about it.
Yeah, but no. Freaking Miz got eliminated. Freaking buzzer went off. So Elias was officially in the match, but he didn't get in the match. He didn't want to battle Strowman. Miz was like, yeah, I'm staying in here, right?
Yep.
Elias was like, nope. Nope, not me. I don't want any part of that. Of course, it was at that point that Reigns, Balor, Rollins, and Cena began working together to knock Strowman down with a quadruple team, including Reigns and Cena picking up Strowman, which led to freaking a massive freaking Shield powerbomb with Rollins and Balor assisting.
Well, Cena didn't know what the fuck was going on, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the Shield power." I was like, "Okay, we'll do that."
And you know what's funny? All of them, it's like all of them pinned Strowman, but Strowman kicked out of everyone covering him.
Yes.
Literally no song the quadruple freaking Shield powerbomb like you on 2K.
See, that's 4.
Technically, that's 3.
No, that's 4 because you did it previously.
I'm just saying.
You did it in the other matches.
But yeah, freaking Cena then freaking came back as Strowman actually nailed an attitude adjustment or FU, whatever you call it, but whatever you want to call it, Strowman kicked out of that. Reigns then hit a spear on Strowman. Strowman kicked out of that. And then Rollins hit the stomp on the freaking Strowman. Strowman kicked out of that. And at this point, freaking Strowman rolled outside of the mat, and then Balor then hit the coup de grace on Strowman on the outside of the ring. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, at this point, Cena then hit the freaking attitude adjustment on Reigns, but then Rollins kicked Cena, knocking him down, and then freaking Balor then hit a sling blade on Rollins, so all of them were down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when your boy finally decided to freaking get into the ring, and your boy Elias, I'm talking about, right?
No, he's your boy. They're all your boys. Except Cena, he was my boy.
You can't even see him. So yeah, Elias came in and tried to pin freaking Rollins, Balor, Reigns, and Cena, all of them, to which kicked out at 2. Right?
Yeah.
And then Elias then freaking hit a running clothesline on Balor, followed by a kick on Rollins and a jumping knee onto Cena. And of course, Elias then went up the top and actually hit a flying elbow smash on Rollins for a 2 count, shades of Randy Savage there. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then freaking Elias encountered a move, whatever freaking move that Reigns was going for, and hit a sit out powerbomb on Reigns just for a 2 count again. Of course, Strowman came back in, but Elias was like, "Oh shit," and avoided an attack, and Strowman hit his shoulder on the freaking ring post, right?
Yep.
And then Elias, this dumb guy, your pick to win this chamber match, by the way, tried to lift up Strowman, but wasn't able to do it. I thought you tried to lift up Strowman by his neck.
That's my pick to win.
Yeah. Elias freaking tried to lift Strowman up in the electric chair position. Of course, that didn't happen. Freaking Strowman was just too freaking strong and powerful, too heavy. And then Strowman then hit a running power slam onto Elias to eliminate him. So yeah, Elias got eliminated by Strowman, which I know made you sad. That was your pick to win this match.
Nope. Like I said, Braun Strowman was my actual pick to win. John Cena and Braun Strowman were my 2 picks to freaking win this match.
No. I'm just kidding. You're right. Elias wasn't your pick to win this match. Your pick was still in there. And I'm not talking about Strowman or Cena.
Yeah, Cena.
I'm not talking about Strowman or Cena at this point. Right? But anyway, of course, Strowman then picked up Reigns for the power slam, but then Rollins jumped off the top rope with a knee. And then Balor then performed a drop kick on the Strowman. And Reigns freaking nailed Strowman with a Superman punch, but then Cena jumped off the top rope. But Strowman caught him with a running power slam and eliminated Cena.
He caught him in a cross body, then put him on his shoulders for the running power slam.
So yeah, John Cena was eliminated by Strowman. And your pick is still in there. From what I heard, your pick wasn't Braun Strowman either.
It was Braun Strowman and John Cena. We all know that you picked Elias, The Miz, and Roman Reigns.
You're full of jokes today, ain't you?
Oh, I know you did.
Hell no.
Yep.
And of course, freaking afterwards, Strowman decked Reigns and Rollins with punches, knocking them down. And of course, Balor got into Strowman's face, and then 2 boots to the face by Rollins on the freaking Strowman, and a leaping kick to the face on Strowman. It's like Balor got up too, but then Strowman grabbed Balor by the throat, but then Balor broke free with a dropkick that sent Strowman into the corner. Well, either way, a little later, Rollins got back into it overhead, and then, for a little bit, freaking Balor then hit him with a 1916 slam for a 2 count on Rollins. Right?
Yes.
Then Balor then hit a sling blade on Reigns, followed by a drop kick that sent Reigns to the turnbuckle. And a little bit later, Balor went up to the top and hit a coup de grace on Reigns, knocking him down. But then Strowman came back in and actually hit a running power slam on Balor to eliminate him. By pinfall, so Balor got eliminated. So at this point, we're down to 3. We had freaking Strowman, Reigns, and Rollins still in the match. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, Strowman was still in the match, Rollins was still in the match, and your pick Reigns was still in the match.
No, Braun Strowman was my pick, and so was Cena.
Goddamn, I was like, I'm literally doing this to piss him off, and I think he is.
Oh, just remember whose pick it is the week after next.
Yeah, whatever. So Reigns and Rollins tried to work together by sending Strowman into the cage repeatedly, but then Rollins then sent Reigns into the cage, thus ending that temporary alignment. And then Rollins and nailed a clothesline onto Reigns. And then they countered each other. It's like each countered each other moves. Rollins was able to hit a bugle bomb onto Reigns in the corner, but Reigns came back with a Superman punch, which made you very happy. Both men in the ring, so Strowman came down to the mat, came back, and then Rollins freaking battled Strowman, and Rollins was climbing up the chamber, and then freaking Rollins came over to them and then hit a Samoan drop on the Strowman onto the mat on the outside of the ring. Then Strowman was rolling the ring, and Rollins was on top of one of the pods up there, and then Rollins stared at the WrestleMania sign, and then Rollins jumped off a pod with a frog splash on the Strowman for a 2 count. How did Strowman kick out of that? I really don't know. But
he's invincible.
But either way, freaking Rollins hit 2 later on, after a little scuffle between Rollins and Reigns. Rollins hit 2 super kicks to stagger Strowman some more, and then Rollins then ran the ropes, but Rollins then ran the ropes, but then Strowman hit a running power slam on Rollins to eliminate him that quick.
Yeah.
So at this point, Braun Strowman eliminated like the 5 other competitors, only has 1 left. So we're down to 2, right?
Yeah.
So we're down to 2. Strowman has been dominant, and the last 2 was Braun Strowman against your pick, Roman Reigns.
Nope. That's your pick. Mine was Braun Strowman.
And of course, Reigns and Strowman are no strangers to each other at this point. They had like a massive feud throughout the year previous, right?
Yeah.
So Strowman then tried the running power slam on Reigns, but Reigns sent him into the cage. And then Reigns then jumped over the top and dove onto Strowman onto the cage on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Of course, later on, Strowman charged at Reigns, but Reigns moved and sent Strowman crashing through the pod, right? Then Reigns hit a Superman punch, and the crowd really hated this, right? Then Reigns hit another Superman punch, and then Reigns then went for a but then Reigns charged in, and Strowman went for the power slam again, but Reigns slipped out and hit another Superman punch. Then Reigns hit a spear on Strowman, who no-sold it by getting back up to his feet. I'm not doing the joke this time. So Reigns then hit another spear and pinned Strowman to win the match and to book his ticket to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. God, that booking was on point. So the winner of this match was Roman Reigns. Your thoughts on this match, bell to bell, before we talk about what happened afterwards?
Yeah.
It was your typical Roman Reigns booking. I know, it kind of hurt the match. I swear. Right?
Yeah.
Like I said, one of the best freaking Elimination Chamber. I don't even know, but it's not the worst. That's all I got to say. Of course, after the match, freaking Reigns celebrated his win, with Cole saying that Reigns get to finish what he started with Lesnar at WrestleMania, but as we all know, that would not happen. But it doesn't matter, because after the match, Strowman picked Reigns up and hit a running power slam on him, knocking him out. And then the fans were chanting one more time, so Strowman picked up Reigns and hit another running power slam on the Reigns. And then that wasn't even enough, so Strowman picked up Reigns and whipped him through one of the pods to end the show.
Yep.
Now, let's face it, you would think with that angle, you would think that this would really set up a triple threat match at WrestleMania 34 between Strowman, Reigns, and Lesnar. No, that did not happen. It should have, but it did not happen that way. Because you know what Strowman was doing at WrestleMania 34 instead? Going after the Raw Tag Team titles with his partner being a child. Yeah, that's how you booked the freaking Monster Among Men after making him look dominant in the chamber. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I know it's a past, you can't do anything about it, but looking at it now, it was kind of a dumb decision. They should have just went with a triple threat instead. In my opinion, with the way that match ended post-match, that would have made more sense. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, but they wanted it.
Yeah, wouldn't you agree with my analysis there? So yeah, now we get to our favorite part of our review here after we reviewed the whole show just now. And that is our rating system. So here we go. Alexa Bliss winning the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match to retain the Raw Women's Championship. I give that one 4 3/4 out of 5.
I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I enjoyed it way slightly more than you did. Sheamus and Cesaro defeating Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews to retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. I give that one 3 out of 5.
I give that a 4 out of 5.
Asuka defeating Nia Jax in a match where if Nia Jax won, then freaking she'd be added for a triple threat match, which did not happen. Because Asuka won, I gave that one 3 out of 5.
I gave that a 4.5.
God, you're enjoying these more mid-card matches than I am. Matt Hardy defeating Bray Wyatt in that one-on-one singles match. For as weird as it was, I was strangely entertained, so I gave that one 3 3/4 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Goddamn, you enjoyed it way more than I did.
It's probably the only 5 out of 5 that's going to be on this fucking pay-per-view.
Yeah. And of course, the Ronda Rousey contract signing segment, I'm not going to give an official score to, but if I was going to, I'd give that one a 5 out of 5. That's unofficial.
I'd give it a 4.5 because she could have done a lot more.
Yep. Of course, that doesn't affect the overall grade of the show. And of course, the main event with Roman Reigns winning the men's Elimination Chamber match to become the number 1 contender for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 34. I only gave it 4 out of 5 only because the booking sucked.
I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, the only reason I say the booking sucked at the end was, why would you make Braun Strowman dominate throughout the whole match and then immediately lose to Roman Reigns at the end? And that's the part that hurt me. Why don't you just have Braun Strowman win? And then they could have booked a match on Raw between the two where Reigns would win, making a triple threat. That'd make more logical sense. But, WWE wasn't about logic back then. Right? That's why I gave that one 4 out of 5. So, my final grade for Elimination Chamber 2018 is a B.
C.
Okay. So that's our thoughts on Elimination Chamber 2018.
The only match I would recommend is the Hardy versus Wyatt match. That's it.
Okay, for the non-Elimination Chamber matches, just to see a nutty weird match, yeah, I would go with Hardy versus Wyatt. But if I had to recommend one of the two chamber matches, I would go for the first ever women's chamber match. You really don't need to see the men's chamber match.
It wasn't even a fucking traditional chamber match. It was just a fucking number 1 contender chamber match, which they could have just freaking did a freaking just a match, a gauntlet match for it. Exactly. Or something.
So, exactly. So yeah, that was our thoughts on Elimination Chamber 2018. Usually this is the part where I say my pick for next week's review, but I'm going to hold off on that. Because we got Elimination Chamber 2025 this Sunday to review and upload, so...
Well, this Saturday, and then...
Well, the Saturday is a pay-per-view. The day that I'm going to be uploading the review is Sunday. The day after, so yeah, look forward to Elimination Chamber 2025, and then after that, I will reveal what my pick for next week will be. So until then, we will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Deuces.